Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Ten Under 10 on the Hoosier Network. Adam Oppenheim, as usual, with Graham Nash, back at you today, breaking down women's sports. It was a hectic past week, so let's jump into it, starting on the court with basketball, where now 9 Big Ten teams are in the top 25. For the second straight week, the UCLA Bruins are the number 1 team in the country. UCLA is rolling right now after being number 3 South Carolina 77-62 a couple weeks ago. The Bruins beat UT Martin 97-37 and Fresno State 97-41 in their last couple games. 6th-ranked USC bounced back after they lost to Notre Dame, defeating Seton Hall 84-51 and St. Louis 104-65. It was a scare for 7th-ranked Maryland as they need a 22-11 fourth quarter to sneak past George Mason at home. Maryland followed that up with a strong effort on the road, knocking down Toledo 92-70. 12th-ranked Ohio State had an easy week, cruising past Old Dominion 70-47 and Utah State 87-51. The Iowa Hawkeyes, 17th-ranked, went on the road to BYU and held the Cougars to just 48 points, winning 68-48. It was a tough week for number 21 Illinois. They got destroyed by 14th-ranked Kentucky 76-53, but they did bounce back against Canisius 68-55. The Michigan Wolverines, 23rd-ranked, had a week on the road. They defeated Belmont 68-58 and Virginia Tech 76-65. Michigan's rival, 24th in the rankings, Michigan State, won 78-70 on the road. The only other team in the top 25 was 25th-ranked Nebraska, who hasn't played in the past week after crushing UMKC 84-38 at home. Graham, we turn to you. New number 1 team in the nation is UCLA. How have the Bruins been so successful this year?
Well, Adam, they can really do everything. I mean, that's kind of what I noticed. They can shoot the 3 ball. They can work it inside with their big in Lauren Betts. And they're not leaving any doubt. When they're playing less good teams, they are blowing them out of the water. They beat South Carolina almost by double digits. It might have been double digits.
Yeah.
It was right in that area. And then these teams that aren't as good, they're just demolishing it. And it's because they can shoot it from beyond the arc, but then they can also work it inside. Lauren Betts has had a fantastic season. She's averaging a double-double. And then along with that, 4 different Bruins are averaging double-digit points. So they can really share the wealth. Everyone on that team can play. And there wasn't really much expectation on them like there might have been for a USC.
Right.
So I think that they kind of have a little bit less weight on their shoulders coming into the season.
So far, the Bruins have looked really good. What other Big Ten teams stand out to you?
I'm going to go USC. The Trojans look really good. And, I mean, that's what we all expected. Kiki Iriafen, transferring from Stanford, she was always going to be a big piece to this puzzle. But then the freshman star, who's now a sophomore star, in Juju Watkins, she has been unreal. In last night's game, 40 points, 9 for 11 from beyond the arc. She is a monster. Set a USC record for most threes made in a game with those 9 threes. So with that duo in Iriafen and Juju Watkins, I think they're going to be a big team.
Yeah, a couple top teams coming into the Big Ten this year. So let's stay on the court with volleyball. We would just highlight the top 25 teams in the scores. Number 2, Penn State had a heck of a week. They first swept Rutgers in straight sets, but then took down 3rd-ranked Nebraska at home 3-1. 3rd-ranked Nebraska did get back in the win column, winning 3-1 on the road in College Park. Wisconsin, ranked 7th in the country, were able to sneak past Ohio State in 5 sets. Not as close the next match as they beat the Spartans 3-1. The Road Warriors this past week was number 9 Purdue, who took down 14th-ranked Oregon in 5 sets in Eugene and Washington 3-0. The Ducks, ranked 14th in the country, did beat UCLA 3-1 to finish the past week at 1-1. The 15th-ranked Golden Gophers breezed through both Illinois and Ohio State 3-1. Lastly, USC, ranked 19th, took down Washington 3-1 and Iowa 3-0. Graham, there was one huge matchup in the Big Ten. Penn State beating Nebraska. How did the Nittany Lions pull it out?
Yeah, we got a share of the Big Ten regular season championship, the Nittany Lions and the Cornhuskers, which is interesting, seeing that the Nittany Lions have the tiebreaker. They beat Nebraska, but we'll get into the match. I've said all season that everything would have to go right for Penn State to beat this Nebraska team. Nebraska has the height, they seem to have the power, and everything went right for Penn State. It was an unbelievable showing. They had 3 players who had double-digit kills. They were sharing the wealth beautifully, and then their defense was phenomenal. They were putting the balls off the block of Nebraska. They were just tipping it over, putting it in perfect spots. And Nebraska, they were held to their lowest hitting percentage of the season at 154. That doesn't happen to a Nebraska team.
154 is really, really low.
It's really low. Nebraska, they just couldn't get anything going. And, Harper Murray, she did have a double-double, I think 13 kills, 13 digs. So some players on Nebraska were doing well, but Penn State, their block was on fire. They were putting it in such hard places for Nebraska to return it. It was just an unbelievable performance from the Nittany Lions. And that crowd at home, that Nittany Lion crowd, they are tough to they were rocking. That's exactly right.
Well, we're headed down the stretch in volleyball, but it's time to turn to another sport that is about to finish as the NCAA tournament final for women's soccer is set. It features no Big Ten teams, but here is how the final 2 Big Ten teams fared. It was number 1 seed USC being taken down in PKs in the Elite 8 by Wake Forest 2-2. Same heartbreak for 4th seed Penn State as they lost 2-1 in overtime to the 2nd seed North Carolina. Graham, no Big Ten teams left. What team are you most disappointed with?
I would say the UCLA Bruins. Big Ten champions or tournament champions, and they have just been known for kind of being this fantastic postseason team, but they didn't have that same fire. They got bounced by Virginia Tech in the second round. They beat Cal Baptist in the first round, which, again, you expect that. But I think Virginia Tech, they're ranked 7th in this tournament, and the Bruins, they're ranked 2nd. That should be not an easy matchup, but they should at least be pushing it to overtime if they can't get the win in the regular 90 minutes. So I would say the Bruins were really the disappointers. USC, I thought about them for a while too, but you make it to the Elite 8, that can happen. You lose in PKs. You can't really do much about that. So I'd say the Bruins were the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, anything can happen in the NCAA tournament, and no Big Ten teams once again in the Final Four. Finally, it's time to cover the finish of the NCAA tournament for field hockey, which ended with Northwestern winning the 2024 title. Here's how it went down. In the Final Four, the 2nd seed Northwestern Wildcats sneaked by against UMass 1-0. The Wildcats then faced the 4th seed St. Joseph's in the championship game and crushed the Hawks 5-0 to win the 2024 Field Hockey Championship. And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Special thanks to our producer, Colin Dusek, graphics creator, Daniel Trowerman, and our teleprompter, Jesse Witt. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at B1G_under10. And check out our next episode of Big Ten Under 10.